Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Carry On Film Podcast. And today we will be doing a little series called Real Reaction, where we'll be covering a certain film called Eraserhead. It was made in 1977 by David Lynch. And you might know David Lynch from a few other films like Mahala Drive or Blue Velvet. He's not so familiar. I've not seen so many of his films, but I'm just starting. This is sort of the tip of the iceberg. I think this was one of his more early works. And Eraserhead itself was released in 1977. And personally, I'm a big fan of 70s flicks. If a lot of stuff, a lot of classics was released in 1970s, so Monty Python, if you will. Anyways, moving on actually, I just wanted to cover the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to this film, and some things that I liked, I didn't like, I was kind of confused by. Like, Eraserhead itself is a horror film, but it is a special sort of horror it is not that sort of choppy horror that you expect from Friday the 13th. It is the one that questions your sanity, almost like it's a H.P. Lovecraft sort of question yourself. The good. It gets the atmosphere right. So if you look this film up, you'll notice that it uses black and white film. And despite it being 1977, there are other color films around. This is not the 1950s we're talking about, but what I think it was a very good stylistic choice, because when you're using black and white film, you get instant style. I mean, it's like Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin said, you've either got or you haven't got style. You could use, I'd like to point out maybe Casablanca for an instance of that. And what happens is, if you wanted to show a character who's in conflict, you could actually show the right side of their face as being highlighted by light and the other kind of shrouded in darkness. And you could just do that to tell an easy way of showing conflict without actually having to say anything. And that's filmmaking for you. It's showing, not telling. And while we're on the subject of atmosphere, I absolutely adored the use of sound, because there's a few points where silence is almost like the lack of noise that is used can cause the most creepiest of vibes. So there's one point in the story where our protagonist goes out to his girlfriend's parents for a date, and he's an awkward character, and it's just that elongated silence where it shouldn't be, where people should be talking or something like that, or it's just pure silence, and it builds up to a sense of expectation and suspense, and I found it was used quite masterfully here. The bad. The plot is a bit difficult to sort of wrap your head around. A lot of the sequences that you'll see within the film are kind of like a fever dream. And I gotta say, it's not a film for everyone. Of course, it's a horror film. It is not something like Finding Nemo that you're going to show your kids. It is, to give you an example of one of these sequences, there's this fever dream of this lady in the boiler where she's on this sort of stage. She's dancing left and right, and it's kind of eerie. This very old sort of style music plays, and then fetuses just, start falling from the ceiling, and then she starts stepping on them one by one. I don't know what to say about that. There's another sequence where our protagonist's head falls off, and then the head of the child pops up where his head was on his shoulders, and his head rolls to the floor. And I don't know if this is some sort of bizarre metaphor for the son replacing the father or something like that, but it kind of cuts into the real world somehow. There's another sequence where it cuts into the real world where his head is still rolling. A kid picks it up, gives it to these officials and to a scientist, and the scientist scoops parts of his brains out, and then proceeds to use his head to create eraser heads of pencils. I swear to you, at that point, my jaw was hitting the floor because I ceased to understand what was going on. It's mind-boggling, and it really does achieve that sense of horror. But when I do call it, I wouldn't necessarily call it bad in quality, but it's bad because I guess, at least for me, I had difficulty following it. It really does an awesome job. even when I'm talking about the bad, it does an awesome job of creating that sense of horror. But it should be, it should definitely be stressed that you might not follow this, and I don't know if it's supposed to be even a coherent story to begin with. But that's what I gotta say about that. Now for the ugly part of the film. It's I honestly don't have too many critiques on it. I really liked the way it was edited and whatnot. And this is me pretty much kissing his ass. But yeah, for me, I only have to say it's not from the faint of heart. I I'm not too big on. I see myself as a very simple person. I really didn't catch up on the symbology of most of it, but yeah, I just say it's not for the faint of heart. There's quite a few quite a few disturbing sequences that again it's not for everyone, but it's certainly an interesting film that perhaps it's one of those films I don't know if I should rewatch again, but I might because I've it absolutely lost me there. Anyways, this has been an episode of Real Reaction. You've got plenty of my reaction today, and that I think it should be enough. So this has been Carry On Productions, and please share this and give us your reactions. What did you think about this film? Did you go out and see it? Yeah, just tell us what's going on. Anyways, be sure to leave the world in a better place that you found it, and have an awesome day.